What up, nerds? Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie Smith, and on this channel I like to talk about all sorts of fun bookish related things, primarily in the science fiction fantasy categories, but I do enjoy horror, manga, and more recently, nonfiction. So if you're someone who enjoys reading in those genres, you've come to the right spot. So in this morning's episode of Fun, I'm going to be talking to you about The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. The Dragon Republic is book 2 in the Poppy War series, which is a grimdark fantasy based around 20th century China. The Poppy War, which is R.F. Kuang's debut novel, came out in 2018. She followed up in 2019 with The Dragon Republic, and of course 2020 we've got The Burning God. So either she planned ahead or she's going to be a very prolific author. I read The Poppy War earlier this year and I absolutely loved it. I went in blind. I had absolutely no idea what to expect. I thought it was just going to be a historical fiction about the wars that took place in China. When I was introduced to the magic in it, I was floored, but I loved it. It was just so well done. The Dragon Republic picks up right where Poppy War left off. So we're in the aftermath of the Third Poppy War. So when Ren wiped out the Federation that brought about the ending of the Third Poppy War, she is having a very difficult time coming to terms with what she did to win the war, the atrocities that she committed, the things that she did. In addition to the huge amount of guilt she's carrying around, she's still feeding her opium addiction, which doesn't help. Let's not forget, she's still dealing with the Phoenix, the vengeful god that is constantly whispering all these murderous thoughts and intentions to Ren. Ren is at a bit of a loss. She is now the commander of the Psyche. Really all they're doing is trying to come up with a way to kill the Empress, whom they all hate since they have determined she's a traitor. And with the Psyche's main focus being on revenge, it wasn't too difficult for the Dragon Warlord to convince them to come to his side, because he's decided to take advantage of the weakness of the Empress in the wake of the war to try and step in and ally the provinces against her, wipe out her and her rule, and instead form a republic, which of course you get the name, the Dragon Republic. So there's your basic plot. And I say basic plot, but really the best thing about this book is the plot. Yeah, we spend the majority of our time with Ren, who's just not a likable character at all. And most of the characters are jerks. So I never formed an emotional attachment to any of them. The only one that kind of wormed its way in my heart a little bit was Ramsa. But other than that, I just didn't really feel attached to the rest of them. One thing that the Dragon Republic did that the Poppy War didn't, we spent a lot of time with our secondary characters. I just felt like they just really came to life and got fleshed out. I really enjoyed all of the attention that Kuang gave to them. I just thought it added a great element to the sequel that I missed from the first one. But that's just me. That's because I'm very much a character-driven reader. But even though I didn't really form an attachment to the characters, I still really enjoyed the book. I enjoyed it immensely. I gave it 4 stars because the plot was phenomenal. There were so many things that happened that were just masterfully done. R.F. Kuang writes in a way that's just very engaging. It's fast-paced. It keeps your attention. None of that info dumpy stuff happened in this one. I just love that nice easy flow. It made it insanely easy to binge. So in talking about the characters, we did meet some of our old friends from the Poppy War, but we got a lot of new ones introduced, some very interesting ones. We discovered more about the Hesperians in this one. More concisely, those that are called the Grey Company. And the Grey Company are priests and scientists. Like that, and their religion, those two are one and the same. If you were a priest, you were also a scientist, which just blew my mind because everything else you read or know, those two are like polar opposites. They disagree about what the other one believes, and I just thought it was extremely interesting. So at time of filming, there are currently 13,770 ratings for it on Goodreads with an average star rating of 4.34 stars. I personally gave it 4 stars. Now you're probably saying to yourself, Leslie, it sounds like you really loved this book. Why didn't you give it 4 stars? There were a couple of things about it that I didn't like. While I think she definitely improved on the writing style of this book from the Poppy War, there are a few things that I didn't enjoy. So there is an occurrence between Ren and a character called the Sorkin Kira that just didn't feel like it flowed with the story well. It felt out of place to me and just not the way I would have liked that to have been written. I just think it could have been more creative. It just felt weird. But then when I thought about it later, I thought, well, maybe I'm weird. If you've read The Dragon Republic, let's chat about it in the comments. Put a spoiler tag for those that may not have read it. I just didn't care for that part with what they did regarding the Phoenix. And then my other issue, I do realize that most of the characters are teenagers. The author just excessively uses the F word. I do not mind cursing in books. I think a well-placed curse word really can add to the gravity of the situation that that person is in. But when it is 4 and 5 times a page, it makes you notice it. And then once I noticed it, I kept noticing it, and it just was disconnecting me from the story. So when I'm hitting that F word, like, you know, every paragraph 2 and 3 times, it's like a speed bump. It just causes me to be like, oh, there she goes using the F word again. So it's not that I'm against it, it's just that when you overuse it, it makes them sound not the brilliant minds you're portraying them to be, with going to sign guard and being these generals and military strategists at their young age, but then you want to have them still talk like they're a teenager who is away from their house and their parents, and they're going to use every curse word they can in the same sentence. It just took away from it a little bit for me. That's just me personally. You know, reading is subjective. I'm just throwing it out there. That's why it didn't get a 5-star for me. Would I recommend this book? Yes, but if you read the Poppy War and you didn't like the info dump, so you didn't continue, or you read the Poppy War and the way that Kuang described the graphic scenes from the war bothered you, she did not do that, either of those things, in the Dragon Republic. I don't know if she heard how people felt about those certain chapters and decided not to do that, or if that's just an unconscious move by her. At any rate, that is not in this book. There are some battles, but they're not gory. There is one scene where one of the characters stops a rape in progress, but it is not graphic. So if those are things that bothered you from the first one, that kept you from continuing, this one is safe. This one is nothing like the Poppy War in that regard. In my opinion, it is just as good. A lot of people think it's better. I don't think it's better like plot and story wise. I do think that the author wrote it better. I think she made it easier and more fast paced and engaging to read. But the material is just as exciting as the first book. I do feel like we got a little more in the area of world building. We did some traveling around the different provinces that I enjoyed, but nothing too crazy or too big. I don't mind if it's a smaller area. There was so many other things that were happening to focus on other than that. I definitely think reading this series is worthwhile, and it's just very rich and a very closely accurate portrayal of what happened in those times. It's been a fascinating read for me. It's also just got those fantasy elements and magic that I adore. Definitely recommend it. I cannot wait to get my hands on The Burning God. The ending of this one just left me wanting more. And it was probably just made even worse knowing The Burning God was just going to be coming out a few days later. So I'm glad that I waited until closer to The Burning God's release date to read The Dragon Republic. So in closing, I really enjoyed my time spent in the Dragon Republic. I'm looking forward to getting into The Burning God next month. I just wanted to get some thoughts and opinions out there. I do understand that reading is subjective to the person reading it. So if you have read the Dragon Republic, please come chat with me in the comments below. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you not like it? Why? Let's talk it through and have fun talking books to one another. You can also hit me up in the Nerdy Narrative Discord. Link will be in the description box down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.